connections are really, really poor, so we're just going to give it a shot. Essentially, what we're going to do first... What's going on, everybody? Twig and Timber Outdoors with Lucky Tackle Box here to show you guys one of my favorite bass-type popper flies. And for today's recipe, we're going to need streamer hook size 2 by Umpqua. We're going to need some pretty strong threads, or at least, sometimes monofilament, but at least 270 ultra thread, some orange and some black craft foam, typically like 2 or 3 mil work just fine, some Gorilla Glue or some other super glue, so a black Sharpie or dark green Sharpie, some Marabou, some centipede legs. Typically the bigger ones for poppers and grasshoppers are better. So let's get our wrap started. We're going to wrap rearward. I'm going to show you guys how to tie today. I'm going to use a pink ultra thread so you guys can see it. And so we're going to get a really good base. What you'll see me do often throughout this entire tie is I will save my work by throwing in some either whip finishes or hand finishes, what have you. So first we're going to take our hair dub and chartreuse, and I like to make mine, let's see, probably anywhere from 4 to 6 inches. We're going to tie it to the back of the hook, top of the hook, and then after we get a good loose couple wraps, we cinch it down, and then I like to fold mine back and just to add some more volume heading backward. We want a nice light but thick fly because of the willingness that bass will have to take it a little better in the size. And so we're gonna tie that down again, taking a few loose wraps and then tightening it down. I like to again throw a nice little whip finish in here just to save my work, especially, and also anytime we're fishing for, you know, toothy or big critters, I like to make sure that we have, you know, multiple places where there are knotted pieces just holding it down. So next we're going to tie in our green Marabou or whatever color Marabou you'd like. This is just cheap craft Marabou from like a boa from like Walmart, and for my bass flies I like to go a little on the inexpensive side. It works very well, especially for wrapping, because it's one-sided and it's very, you know, none of it is stiff or firm. So we tie it in, we wrap it around the shank. I try and tightly wrap so that I can get more volume from the Marabou, and it also looks nicer not to have that pink or whatever color thread you choose show through. Then we're going to tie the Marabou to the hook, making sure to tighten it down pretty well, cut off the excess, and kind of preen and push back the Marabou on the fly back rearward. Now this is a size 2 hook, so it's a little smaller. You can tie these all the way up to, I don't know, odd size hooks or even on some bass hooks. So there's my whip finish again. There we go. Now the next step, we've taken our foam and we've cut our foam into almost like a diamond shape, and I like to use the black as the insert. So I have a diamond in orange and a half diamond in black. You may shape it accordingly to your tying needs. We put a little hole into the top of the foam so it wraps around the hook, and then after we've sized it, I've determined that I probably need to go a little farther back on the shank, so I add a few more wraps to the Marabou there. It also kind of forms it back rearward as well. So I put it in there, so I put the foam on. I'm going to put the black piece on top to create more of a body. But before I cinch it and tie it down, I take 2 or 3 centipede legs. It doesn't have to be crazy. I like 2 because if we're going to tie it in a little more symmetrically, then there's 2 on each side, and it makes sense to me. But I've never had, you know, if a fish could count legs, we'd all be in trouble. It's a pretty famous saying. So we're gonna get those legs ready, put them into the body of the foam, and wrap the foam around the legs. And for this stage, I like to push them forward to get them out of the way as I tie down the body. I like to leave about 2-3 millimeters in front of the foam. That may be, what is it, 1/8 to a 3/5 of an inch, something like that. And so we get that prepped and primed. You may add some super glue in there if you'd like to. I didn't today for the sake of ease. I'm going to throw a few loose wraps around the foam. And this is where really having really strong thread is actually a benefit. I didn't use super strong thread here, so I needed a couple more wraps, but we're going to throw loose wraps, and with every loose wrap, you kind of add a little more tension, and we want to make sure that the foam is in sturdy enough place. So, and then once we do that, I like to pull the legs back rearward against where I just wrapped, and wrap a few times in front of the legs as well. And this holds the legs in place. Some people like to tie the legs in farther in front of the body, but I find this to be really kind of time-saving and easy. And as far as bass go, I'm all for, you know, things being a little less difficult when it comes to bass. So they'll basically take anything if you present it the right way, just like most fish. So get a nice little whip finish around the main body there. Just again to save your work. The foam body's not on there too sturdily yet, so do then is we're going to take a bit of that super glue and a bit of that hardener, if you will, and after I snip the body to the appropriate size I like, and you can snip this to your specifications, I'm going to take a bit of super glue and I'm going to push the foam back a little bit on the shank, and I'm going to put some on the shank itself and on the wraps, and I'm going to let it push forward over top of the shank and underneath where that hole was created. I'm also going to put a tiny bit possibly on the wraps or on the underside, or I might even just use hardener. The wraps were pretty solid, so we're going to leave the hardener to do its job over the wraps to save some wraps. And one of my favorite things to do is now you get to play arts and crafts and you get to customize your popper. So we're going to do some dots here to kind of represent almost a frog-like pattern. Salamander, if you will, what have you. It's really up to your choosing. The bass will like different colors. You can tie this in chartreuse, the foam. You can tie this in white, in black. Change up the color of the marabou, of the ice dub, of the tail. Change up the color of the legs, what have you. That's your fly, and that'll do it for us. Hopefully you guys liked the video. Like, subscribe. Catch you on the flip side.